and welcome to another episode of Fun with Flags. I am your host, 50 Ben Gurion, and this is my trusty sidekick, Soda Charette.
Hey,
How are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing pretty good, my dude. How's it going for you? Besides, obviously, the world shit.
Yeah, I was gonna make a joke about that, but you took that opportunity away from me, so...
Son of a whore. My mom's not a whore. Damn it.
What?
I said, I yelled out, son of a whore, and I realized my mom's not a whore.
All right.
Yikes.
I mean, we're not getting into that, so how are you doing, people of the world? We are still, in the thick of it, as they say, but still somehow finding the time to deliver these videos for you and for your entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I think I interrupted you in the middle of the...
And we're mostly talking to you, 50s mom.
Yes, of course. I think I might have interrupted you. So, how are you doing before we start?
Oh no, I'm doing fine. It's just another dreary day over here in Canada. A lot of rain. Gets like this time of year, so it gets kind of depressing.
Well, I mean, it started raining here a day or two ago.
Oh wow!
Finally,
yeah.
I mean, like, we're in the middle of November and we finally starting to get to see rain, but only for 1 day, 1 or 2 days, and that's it. Like that's all we get.
Yeah.
Like, weather-wise, we're screwed all year round. We're not here to discuss the weather, right?
Yeah, no shit, I also recently, 50 does know this, I also recently started a rewatch of... No, there goes Chandler. This show.
Isn't it fitting that Chandler's the one that went...
Oh, too soon, 50. Ouch.
I'll see myself out. Goodbye. Good night.
Where's the Seinfeld? Hey, don't do that. Well, I gotta go off camera and find him. Hey, there he is.
This show is turning into madness and we're barely even 3 minutes in.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no, sorry. That particular part of that set isn't the best. It's only held on. Yeah, it's a pop-up part. Yeah,
I think I have that set too.
Yeah, and I would bring it over, but it's larger. I also have the living rooms.
Yes, I know, you lucky bastard.
Yeah, and Seinfeld one as well. And I am looking forward to when they inevitably do The Office and Parks and Rec, because those are two of my favorite shows.
No. Well, you're just going to make me jealous all day around, right? So let's just jump into the topic to prevent you from doing that. The topic for...
Well, but just to be fair, you do have some stuff that makes me jealous too, so shut up.
I hardly know what you mean, sir.
Not really much on the couch per se, besides you, my friend. But I'm talking more like your shield and your helmet. I really like that poster, and you've also shown me some stuff too. So it's like, yeah, you got some pretty cool shit.
I know.
Yep.
You know what else is cool?
What?
Independence.
Oh yeah.
That's what, and that is the topic for today's show: the Israeli Declaration of Independence. First of all, before we go any further, I don't think I've ever asked: does Canada also have a Declaration of Independence? Is that like a thing, or for all countries?
No, because we never really separated. We're still like we are, but we aren't with Britain, if that makes sense. It's, so we've never had to. Something like this, a Declaration of Independence, is like when America said, "Fuck you, we're out of here," and that's what that is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we haven't. So Canada as a country hasn't done that, so we don't have one.
No. So your independence is kind of an afterthought.
In a way, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, we're independent, but mommy lives in the attic, sort of thing.
It's daddy now.
Oh yeah, that's right. And actually, recently they just revealed, the Canada Mint just revealed the image of him on the back of a coin.
Wonder how long that's gonna last.
I don't know, but it's weird, man. I've only known one monarch on there my whole life. It's very weird.
Yeah, well, try living with Netanyahu for 15 years. Anyway, so we're not now that we got the political stuff out of the way. The Israeli Declaration of Independence was hold on. I'm gonna pull a soda here, and I'm gonna read off of Wikipedia. Now, remember, I'm reading off the Hebrew Wikipedia, so I'm gonna have to translate it in my head while I'm reading it.
You,
So, the
isn't there a way to do that on the page?
yeah, but it's a bit too complicated, so I'm just doing it by hand.
Oh, okay.
So the Declaration of Independence is the hold on, let me just put the thing on the screen while I'm talking to, so it looks more official. So the Israeli Declaration of Independence is the official document that declares Israel's independence, or the foundation of the state of Israel. And it was read by, hold on, it was originally read by this guy. Remember this guy? David Ben Gurion
Yes, yes, yes.
in the official uh, Declaration of Independence ceremony that was held at Dizengoff House at the old Tel Aviv Museum on Friday, the 5th in the month of Iyar in the year of Tashach, otherwise known as May 14th, 1948, on 4 o'clock p.m., 8 hours before the end of the British Mandate of Palestine at the
Right.
time. This is
If you look in the private chat, I've got the English page for the Israeli Declaration of Independence.
it's longer and more boring, so that's why I went with the Hebrew one.
Oh, sorry.
Trust me, I've checked it ahead of time. So
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
as seen in the background picture right here, it was read in this house, which was at the time the old Tel Aviv Museum. Now, the thing that you're seeing here is that because this was a museum, this room in particular had some art in it, and some very inappropriate art to be featured during such a historic moment for the state of Israel, if you catch my meaning.
Hmm.
That's why they draped it all. They draped it all and put the picture at the top and put those two flags. Now, if you'll notice, those two flags are wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say something feels off
Uh,
because
do you know?
because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think they were flags. I thought they were banners. So there you go. That's why.
Banners, flags, whatever. But the shape is wrong. If you'll notice, the Star of David, the 2 points should be pointing towards the two stripes.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Like, the Star of David is a bit inverted there. So
yeah.
yeah, this just shows you how kind of last minute this whole thing was.
Who's the
Uh,
gentleman with the beard again in the picture?
that's Theodore, otherwise known as Benjamin Zev Herzl,
Right.
um, the visionary who first saw uh, the the possibility of a Jewish state in what was at the time known as Palestine to the rest of the world, but when it was known as the land of Israel to all Jews living wherever they lived. So, of course, you remember we talked about this several times already. The UN partition plan to split the land of Palestine into two states, a
Mm-hmm.
Jewish state and an Arab state, and all that.
Wait.
The War of Independence and
Yep.
whatnot. So yeah, after that announcement, the partition plan, the Arabs in the region did not like the partition plan. They didn't like the way the lands were supposed to go. So they started attacking the Jews who were living here at the time, and well, this led to a lot of acts of aggression. So this is what led to the earlier or rather moving up in the times, the this moment specifically, the reading of the Declaration of Independence. That's why they had to have announced it 8 hours before the official end of the British Mandate of Palestine, which would have been on May 15th at midnight. That's why they did it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, because they kind of had to declare a state, because they knew that as soon as they did, as soon as the mandate was over, as soon as the British were like, they returned the keys, and it's like, yeah, it's yours now. You have fun with it. As soon as that would happen, they knew the Arabs would attack, and attack they did. All five, 6 countries of them. So they had to have declared the state first to get everything official, get everything in line, uh, and prepare themselves for the inevitable ensuing conflict. And they did that because Israelis have rules and they abide by laws, unlike some other people. Now, I am going to now read the actual declaration itself. I have it right here on another page. Give me a
Perfect.
second. Oops, okay, so share screen. Let's share this screen. Again, you're gonna see pictures from this place quite a lot today. And well, this is the actual declaration itself with everything written on it. Now, again, I am going to just, this is what this whole episode's gonna be. No beating around the bushes. We're just gonna read from the declaration, paragraph by paragraph, and I will try to explain as best I know what each paragraph means. And of course, I will be reading it in Hebrew, but then I will be providing the English translation for the benefit of the worldwide viewers. What?
For the benefit of those with flash photography.
With what photography?
It's a joke that clearly didn't land.
I'm sorry. Is this an American joke? I'm too Middle
No,
Eastern.
it's actually. I realize now it's a wrestling joke that you would never understand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Funny enough, done by two Canadians, but that's besides the point.
I mean, hey, gotta show pride for your country whenever you can, right?
Pretty much.
Okay, so paragraph 1. בארץ ישראל קם העם היהודי, בה עוצבה דמותו הרוחנית, הדתית והמדינית, בה חי חיי קוממיות ממלכתית, בה יצר נכסי תרבות לאומיים וכלל אנושיים והוריש לעולם כולו את ספר הספרים הנצחי. In the land of Israel, Palestine for you foreigners, lived the Jewish people. What?
Are you going to go close patio door so I'm still listening?
Oh, okay. In the land of Israel, the Jewish people have risen. In it, the hold on, different languages mean different things.
Yep.
In it, the Jewish people have shaped the spiritual, religious, and national national identity. Sorry, in it, the Jewish people have lived not really sure how to translate this one. Lived their lives and have created international relations and interhuman relationships and lent the world the eternal book of books, otherwise known as the Bible, of course.
Naturally.
Next paragraph. לאחר שהוגלה העם מארצו בכוח הזרוע, שמר לה אמונים בכל ארצות פזוריו, ולא חדל מתפילה ומתקווה לשוב לארצו ולחדש בתוכה את חירותו המדינית. After being banished, after the people was banished from their land by force, they have remained true to this land in all the lands it was scattered in, and never stopped from praying and hoping to one day return to their land, to its land, the people that is, to its land, and renew in it its national liberty. Okay, again, referring to the being banished by the Romans, 2,000 years just running around the place and always hoping to reestablish a Jewish nation in this land that they lived in 2,000 years ago. מתוך קשר היסטורי ומסורתי זה חרטו היהודים בכל דור לשוב ולהאחז במולדתם העתיקה. ובדורות האחרונים שבו לארצם בהמונים וחלוצים מעפילים ומגינים הפריחו נשמות. החיו שפתם העברית, בנו כפרים וערים, והקימו יישוב גדול והולך השליט על משקו ותרבותו. שוחר שלום ומגן על עצמו, מביא ברכת הקדמה לכל תושבי הארץ ונושא נפשו לעצמאות ממלכתית. Uh, out of a historical and traditional bond to the land, the Jewish people strived in every generation to hold on to their ancient homeland, and in recent generations have returned to their land in huddled masses, pioneers, and uh, um, and workers and defenders have uh, uh, have blessed souls. They've revived the Hebrew language. Topic for another day, by the way. Built villages and cities and established a growing settlement. Uh, that guards its keep and its civilization. It is peaceful and defends itself. Brings the blessing of
Good, wink, wink.
yeah, definitely. We're gonna see a couple of these. Uh, uh, brings blessing of uh, progressiveness to all the people of the land and carries its soul to national independence. Again, now this is of course talking about how uh, the the historic connection between the Jewish people and the land of Israel, and how they, even though they were banished in recent centuries, or rather at this point, the recent century, the Jewish people have slowly come back to the land of Israel and started to work the land, turning and founding all these great cities and villages and settlements, some of which were massacred a few weeks ago, but we're not going to talk about that at the moment.
Ouch.
And and yeah, they've learned how to protect its own people and defend itself against all attackers, and all in the hope of of uh, uh, trying to advance and progress the land and all of its people. There are a couple of past paragraphs here that just exclusively talk about why the Jewish people have a right to live here, historically, nationally, and religiously. בשנת תרנ"ז, 1897, נתכנס הקונגרס הציוני לקול קריאתו של הוגה חזון המדינה היהודית, תיאודור הרצל, והכריז על זכות העם היהודי לתקומה לאומית בארצו. In the year 1897, the first Zionist Congress gathered together to the voice of the visionary of the country, Theodor Herzl, and declared the Jewish people's right to establish a national state, a national existence in its land. Again, remember Theodor Herzl, this guy. Now, a few words on Zionism, because there are a lot of fake news out there in the world. Zionism, first of all, what do you know about Zionism? Let me just...
Fuck all. I don't know anything.
Nothing at all? You didn't hear about it anywhere?
I know, I've heard, obviously I've heard the name. I've heard Zionism. I've heard that because it's in the Bible, but I have no clue what it refers to.
Basically, it's the idea that the Jewish people need a state of their own to call home, and that state is the land of Israel.
Okay.
Zion, by the way, is just an alternate name for Jerusalem.
So basically, it's fucking biblical.
Yep. So, like, Zionism, regardless of what you may hear, regardless of what some people might tell you, Zionism is just exclusively the idea that the Jewish people need to live somewhere, and that somewhere is Israel. It does not say anything at all whatsoever about the Jewish people being the only people in Israel. Yeah. In fact, it even encourages the Jewish people to collaborate and cooperate with anyone else who chooses to live in the land of Israel, with complete disregard for religion, gender, or ethnical background. Okay, so
basically being neighborly.
Yeah, be neighborly and be friendly to to anyone else who wants to build a life here, right? Because some people like to put out lies out there in the world,
Naturally.
especially about this matter. Now I'm gonna finish my tea here while you're doing something.
Yep. I
I
just
needed that.
I well, when I went to look out my window, I grabbed my friend's living room set because I realized it's actually rather dusty. So while you're talking and while I'm listening, I'm just quickly going over it to get the dust off.
All right,
Yeah.
do some friend dusting.
Yep. And also just looking at all the fucking Easter eggs that is in this thing. But anyways, back
Of
to your
course,
topic.
Lego does that all the time.
Yeah.
זכות זו הוכרה בהצהרת בלפור מיום ב' בנובמבר 1917 ואושרה במנדט מטעם חבר הלאומים אשר נתן במיוחד תוקף בינלאומי לקשר ההיסטורי שבין העם היהודי לבין ארץ ישראל ולזכות העם היהודי להקים מחדש את ביתו הלאומי. This right was acknowledged in the Balfour Declaration on the 2nd of November 1917 and was approved in a mandate on behalf of the League of Nations, which gave a special special expiration in a special international expiration for the historic connection between the Jewish people and the land of Israel, and to the Jewish people's right to refound its national home. Again, more Zionist stuff. Even it was approved by the League of Nations, the predecessor to the United Nations, that the Jewish people have a right to exist in the land of Israel. So try to dispute that all you like. You can't mess with history.
No.
And we're making sure that you can't. השואה שנתחוללה על עם ישראל בזמן האחרון, בה הוכרעו לטבח מיליונים יהודים באירופה, הוכיחה מחדש...
Sorry. Sneeze.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were bringing something up.
No, I had to sneeze.
הוכיחה מחדש בעליל את ההכרח בפתרון בעיית העם היהודי מחוסר המולדת והעצמאות על ידי חידוש המדינה היהודית בארץ ישראל, אשר תפתח לרווחה את שערי המולדת לכל יהודי ותעניק לעם היהודי מעמד של אומה שוות זכויות בתוך משפחת העמים. The Holocaust that has recently took place on the Jewish people, where millions of Jews were surrendered to slaughter in Europe, has reaffirmed unconditionally the need for a salvation in the Jewish people diaspora from lack of a nation and lack of independence by the renewal of the Jewish state in the land of Israel, which will widely open the gates of nationality to any Jew and provide the Jewish people a status of an equal rights nation among the family of people, or the family of nations, whichever you prefer. Again, referencing the Holocaust and why Zionism was so important back then as it is just now, and why the Jewish people need a place to call home, because everywhere else they go, people just want to kill them. Yeah, still to this day, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, no kidding.
שארית הפליטה שניצלה מהטבח הנאצי היום באירופה ויהודי ארצות אחרות לא חדלו להעפיל לארץ ישראל על אף כל קושי, מניעה וסכנה, ולא פסקו לתבוע את זכותם לחיי כבוד, חירות ועמל ישרים במולד עמם. The last surviving remnants that was saved from the Nazi slaughter, the terrible Nazi slaughter in Europe, and Jews of other nations had never stopped migrating to the land of Israel despite hardship, prevention, and danger, and did not stop claiming their right for an honorable life a life of honor, liberty, and honest work
Oh,
in their people's nation. What?
so I just said for all.
Well, it is a Declaration of Independence, but it's a slightly different one.
Yeah, I know. I was just joking. I was just joking.
So, yeah, again,
It
referencing
felt like one of those speeches, you know.
yeah, it, trust me, we're gonna get there. But yeah, so again, referencing the fact that the people who survived the Holocaust and other Jewish people from other nations who have survived acts of anti-Semitism all over the years kept migrating to what was called for us the land of Israel, despite hardships. You remember what we talked about when after the Holocaust happened, a lot of Jewish people just migrated from Europe to the Palestine
Yep.
and were stopped by the British people who forced them to go back to Europe. You
Yep.
remember that?
I remember.
Yeah. So this is what this paragraph is referencing. So even though, despite that, they never stopped doing the right thing to hopefully one day have a state of their own in this land.
Mhm.
במלחמת העולם השנייה תרם היישוב העברי בארץ את מלוא חלקו למאבק האומות השוחרות חירות ושלום נגד כוחות הרשע הנאצי, ובדם חייליו ובמאמצו המלחמתי קנה לו את הזכות להימנות עם העמים מייסדי ברית האומות המאוחדות. In World War II, the Hebrew settlement in this land gave its part to the struggle of the faring nations, nation seeking freedom, liberty, and peace against the evil Nazi forces, and with the blood of its soldiers and its war efforts, bought itself the right to uh, to be considered one of the founding people of the United Nations. Now, again, this is referencing the fact that even in World War II, the Jews living in Palestine or the land of Israel at the time still sent their own people to Europe to fight alongside the Allied forces against the Nazis.
Mhm.
Can't say the same about the Arabs who lived here, but that's a topic for another time.
Yeah.
Okay, so on sorry, ב-29 בנובמבר 1947 קיבלה עצרת האומות המאוחדות החלטה המחייבת הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל. העצרת תבעה מאת תושבי ארץ ישראל לאחוז בעצמם בכל הצעדים הנדרשים מצידם הם לביצוע ההחלטה. הכרה זו של האומות המאוחדות בזכות העם היהודי להקים את מדינתו אינה ניתנת להפקעה. On November 29th, 1947, the United Nations Assembly approved the binding contract to found a Jewish nation in the land of Israel. The assembly. How should I translate this? The assembly demanded of the people of the land of Israel to uphold themselves all the necessary steps on their part to execute this decision. This and this is the important line here. This approval of the United Nations in the Jewish people's right to found a state is indisputable.
Dun, dun, dun.
So yeah, no one in this whole world can claim we do not have the right to live in our own nation.
Yeah, no shit.
On that, people of the world. זוהי זכותו הטבעית של העם היהודי להיות ככל עם ועם עומד ברשות עצמו במדינתו הריבונית. This is the natural right of the Jewish people to be among all other people, to govern itself in its sovereign state. Putting a fine point on that again. לפיכך נתכנסנו, אנו חברי מועצת העם, נציגי היישוב העברי והתנועה הציונית, ביום סיום המנדט הבריטי על ארץ ישראל ובתוקף זכותנו הטבעית וההיסטורית ועל יסוד החלטת עצרת האומות המאוחדות אנו מכריזים בזאת על הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל. היא מדינת ישראל. Therefore, we've gathered here today, us, the members of the people's council, members of the Hebrew settlement and the Zionist movement, on the day of the end of the British mandate on the land of Israel, Palestine, and with our natural and historic right, and on the basis foundation of the decision of the United Nations Assembly, we hereby declare the foundation of a Jewish state in the land of Israel. She is the state of Israel. Again, putting up this is probably the most important paragraph of the entire declaration. This is where it basically tells us why we've all gathered here today to execute the decision of the United Nations and declare a sovereign Jewish state in the land of Israel, and its name shall now henceforth be the State of Israel. Now, I should probably point out that before the writing of this particular paragraph, there have been some debate whether or not to name the some debate on what this new sovereign Jewish state should be called. Because some people were considering Judea, some people were simply considering Zion. There were a lot of different names being thrown out there, and then eventually David Ben Gurion made the historic decision to name this state the State of Israel, which, if we're being honest, is by far the most natural decision he could have made. Like, what else are you going to call it?
Common sense.
Yep.
Logic.
So now, from the end of this paragraph, henceforth, the State of Israel exists. Everything written under this paragraph basically is the building of the law system and the first decisions ever made by the government in the State of Israel, which now exists. אנו קובעים שהחל מרגע סיום המנדט הלילה, אור ליום שבת, ו' באייר תש"ח, 15 במאי 1948, ועד להקמת השלטונות הנבחרים והסדירים של המדינה בהתאם לחוקה שתיקבע על ידי האספה המכוננת הנבחרת לא יאוחר מ-1 באוקטובר 1948, תפעל מועצת העם כמועצת מדינה זמנית, ומוסד הביצוע שלה, מנהלת העם, יהווה את הממשלה הזמנית של המדינה היהודית אשר תיקרא בשם ישראל. We now declare that starting from the end of the mandate tonight, on the dawn of Saturday, the 6th of Iyar, in the year Tashach, otherwise known as May 15th, 1948, and until the foundation of the government elects and the governmental and organizational electives of the state, according to what's the national, like, every country's code of laws?
Bill of Rights.
Constitution.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And until in accordance to the Constitution, which will be settled by the governing committee, the government elected committee, no later than October 1st, 1948, which technically never really happened, but whatever. The People's Council will act as a temporary national National Council and the institution of her execution, governing the people, will provide the temporary government of the Jewish state, which will be named Israel. There's a reason why it's a bit complicated there. This is basically where they said, because again, it's a newborn state. It was literally just founded a second ago, with the reading of that previous paragraph, that and there was no constitution yet. Technically, there still isn't, but uh, there were no official rules or laws in
Wait,
this
that's
country
still in
yet.
the Constitution?
Nope.
Wow.
We'll get to that in a minute. And as soon as I finish dissecting this paragraph, and the reason for that is because again, it kind of happened under very specific circumstances,
Yep.
right? Because you had a war coming on the next day, so they didn't really had time to establish a constitution or proper proper laws. So the this committee that you're seeing in the background behind us uh, was to act as temporarily judicial system and governing system for what would be a temporarily government until the settling of you know the war to come, which they already knew was coming.
Hence the
Now,
hastiness, like you mentioned earlier.
yeah, the uh,
The
it was
quickness.
supposed to be no later than October 1st, but again, because of war-related stuff, they never really had time to properly stick to this particular rule. So that's why, still to this day, there really is no proper Israeli constitution.
Hmm.
The main body of laws and rules for the state of Israel was mainly determined by a series of base laws that were decided upon by the Israeli government over the course of its many, many decades. There's still um, base laws being cemented in what could be considered the Israeli constitution every once in a few years. And these base laws are non-negotiable. They cannot be changed at all. They are the laws that decide how this country is governed. And
Just
again, not all of them were what.
literally just described the American Constitution.
Yeah, basically that's what it is.
You guys have a constitution. It's just not called a constitution.
It's not a constitution. It's not a set form of rules. They keep adding stuff to it over the years, but a full complete what?
What do you
What?
think the amendment to the Constitution is?
Will you let me fucking tell the story already?
Sorry.
Because I'm building to something here.
Ah.
So again, because these things usually are meant to be written, while this was supposed to be written on the day that they read this Declaration of Independence, but again, they didn't. There were no base laws. There was at that point there was kind of only one law: survival, because of the ensuing war. So all these base laws to what you call the Constitution were added on in subsequent governments years and years later. And again, these became the interchangeable laws to by which the country was meant to function, until earlier this year, when Mr. Netanyahu tried to change all that with his judicial reform and his all the bullshit that he tried to, all the bullshit laws that he tried to pass. He basically wanted to give the current government the right to change base laws.
I remember you mentioning
that are
that. Yeah.
supposed to be interchangeable.
I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah. So I guess now you understand why all the protests happened all over this year. And of course, that wasn't the only thing he wanted to do. He also wanted to be have full control over who the members of the Supreme Court are. To prevent him from getting impeached again.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you can kind of tell why people were upset
I
and protested. Oh, what?
remember we were discussing this, and we were discussing the similarities between him and Trump.
Yeah, except, well, he's still in office.
Yeah,
And again, this is why the all the protests happen, and the basically the Jewish people were kind of ripped apart and split down the middle, which allowed Hamas to so easily invade the state of Israel on October 7th. So again, all of this kind of stemmed from Netanyahu's desire to change the base laws and the inevitable uh, divisiveness between the people of Israel all throughout this year. I just wanted to bring that up because just to show you how relevant it is. If a proper constitution would have been agreed upon on October 1st, 1948, this may not have happened. Or maybe it will have, and Netanyahu would have still wanted to change it anyway. But no, whatever. Some people have suggested, actually demanded, that the Constitution will directly follow the laws and rules stated in the Hebrew Bible, which, reminder, it's a several thousand-year-old book, so
yeah.
naturally the laws would not apply to the modern world. So that's why Ben Gurion firmly was against that idea.
Mhm.
And you know what? Good on him for doing that. Because let me tell you, if we had to live by those rules, I shudder to think about this country would have looked like this
Yeah,
by
yeah.
today's standards. Okay, I think this is the longest paragraph so far. מדינת ישראל תהא פתוחה לעלייה יהודית ולקיבוץ גלויות, ותשקוד על פיתוח הארץ לטובת כל תושביה, תהא מוש... מושתתה על יסודות החירות, הצדק והשלום לאור חזונם של נביאי ישראל. תקיים שוויון זכויות חברתי ומדיני גמור לכל אזרחיה בלי הבדל דת, גזע ומין. תבטיח חופש דת, מצפון, לשון, חינוך ותרבות. תשמור על המקומות הקדושים של כל הדתות, ותהיה נאמנה לעקרונותיה של מגינת האומות המאוחדות. מדינת ישראל תהא מוכנה לשתף פעולה עם המוסדות והנציגים של האומות המאוחדות בהגשמת החלטת העצרת מיום 29 בנובמבר 1947 ותפעל להקמת האחדות הכלכלית של ארץ ישראל בשלמותה. The state of Israel will be open for Jewish immigration uh, and gathering of exiles. It will emphasize developing the land for the good of all its inhabitants. You'll notice a couple of emphases I'm going to put here.
Yeah.
She will be in charge of the basis of liberty, justice, and peace to in accordance to the vision of the prophets of Israel, namely Herzl. It will have equal rights, both social and national, to all of its citizens without distinction of religion, race, and gender. It will promise freedom of religion, conscience, language, education, and culture. It will safeguard the holy places of all religions and will be loyal to the principles of the United Nations Declaration. The state of Israel will be ready to cooperate with the representatives and the establishments of the United Nations in fulfilling the decision of the Assembly from November 29th, 1947, and will act to founding the economical unity of the state of Israel in its entirety. Did you notice all the emphasis I put here?
Yep.
Yep. So all the points here Any Jew is welcome. Welcome in Israel. It will develop the this country for the benefit of anyone who chooses to live in it. It will always be put liberty, justice, and peace at a very high regard, and provide equal rights to anyone, Jewish, Muslim, or Christian, or any other, and any race of any ethnical background, and any gender who chooses to live in the state of Israel. It will be completely free for anyone to exercise their religion, in any language they want, any type of education or cultural differences. It will safeguard the holy sites of all religions, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, or otherwise, in the country. And of course, the last half of the paragraph is just it's being how they're trying to be loyal and faithful to the declaration of, or rather, the decision of the United Nations to give Israel its own, to give the Jewish people their own nation. So, before we move on, is there anything you'd like to take away from this paragraph specifically?
Um, just that you guys were progressive before most of the world, apparently.
Now we usually tend to do that, but then people kill us and take the credit for themselves.
Yeah, no shit, eh? Yeah,
Okay.
always the victim circumstance.
Yep. אנו קוראים לאומות המאוחדות לתת יד לעם היהודי בבניין מדינתו ולקבל את מדינת ישראל לתוך משפחת העמים. We call forth the United Nations to lend a hand to the Jewish people with the building of its nation, and to accept the state of Israel into the family of uh, races, the family of people, whatever. So these last few paragraphs is just the people of the committee reaching out to the people of the world and asking them for help. Okay? אנו קוראים גם בתוך התקפת הדמים הנערכת עלינו זה חודשים לבני העם הערבי, תושבי מדינת ישראל, לשמור על שלום וליטול חלקם בבניין המדינה על יסוד אזרחות מלאה ושווה, ועל יסוד נציגות מתאימה בכל מוסדותיה הזמניים והקבועים. Do you want to know what this paragraph means?
Yeah.
We call forth, even at the time of this blood war happening, blood assault, being forced upon us these many months, to the Arab people who are the citizens of the state of Israel, to uphold peace and give their parts in the building of the state on the foundation of full citizenship and equal and equal rights, and on the basis and to base a fitting representation in all of its foundations, both temporary and permanent. Can you tell me what this paragraph means?
Um. Basically, I wish I could.
Okay, so let me explain it to you.
Yes, please.
Basically, it's the people who wrote the Declaration of Independence for Israel asking the Arab people living in this territory to cooperate with them to help preserve the peace, rather than to cause war, and to give their part in helping building this newfound state and have a full citizenship and equal rights, and even to provide Arab representatives in the newfound Israeli government.
So basically, the opposite of what everybody thinks you guys are doing.
Yep, the opposite of what everybody else thinks we have been doing for the past 75 years. Okay, so it's in our charter, it's in our Declaration of Independence. We asked the Arab nation, the Arab people in Israel, for peace, and we wanted to cooperate with them. We wanted Arab representatives in the Israeli government from day one. Okay, so stop disputing that, people in the world. אנו מושיטים יד שלום ושכנות טובה לכל המדינות השכנות ועמיהן, וקוראים להם לשיתוף פעולה ועזרה הדדית עם העם העברי העצמאי בארצו. מדינת ישראל מוכנה לתרום חלקה במאמץ משותף לקדמת המזרח התיכון כולו. We reach our hand of peace and good neighborliness to all countries, to all neighboring countries and their people, and call them for peaceful cooperation and help and mutual help with the independent Hebrew nation in its Hebrew people in its land. The state of Israel is willing to contribute their part in the conjoined effort to promote the entire Middle East. Do you know what this paragraph means?
Basically, we want to...
Did you fall asleep?
No, I'm just trying to get my brain to work. Basically, it sounded like it was saying, like, we want to better the Middle East by example.
It literally says, again, in our charter, in our Declaration of Independence, we want peace with our Arab nation neighbors, and we want to cooperate with them, collaborate with them, to help make the Middle East a better place.
Okay. Basically, it's a call for peace.
Yeah, it's a call for peace. Even at a time when Arab nations were preparing to attack us, we still held out our hand in peace. אנו קוראים אל העם היהודי בכל התקופות להתלכד סביב היישוב בעלייה ובבניין, לעמוד לימינו במערכה הגדולה על הגשמת שאיפת הדורות לגאולת ישראל. We call on the Jewish people in all of its other nations to gather around the Jewish settling in the country and building and stand beside the mission, the grand mission of fulfilling the generational aspiration for Israel's sovereignty, Israel's liberation. This paragraph is basically, it's just all the Jews in the world, please come home and come help us build this wonderful nation with us, so we can finally achieve our goals of having a proper, thriving country after nearly 2,000 years in exile. Did you notice how they called for peace for the Arab citizens in the territory of Israel, then called for peace to the neighboring Arabs, and then asked the other Jews around the world to join in?
Actually, I did not.
Yeah. So before we even called our own people to come help us, we offered peace to the Arab neighbors and the Arab people living in our territories. Again, putting a fine point on that. Final paragraph here. מתוך ביטחון בצור ישראל, הננו חותמים בחתימת ידינו לעדות על הכרזה זו. במושב מועצת המדינה הזמנית על אדמת המולדת בעיר תל אביב, היום הזה, ערב שבת, ה' באייר, תש"ח, 14 במאי 1948. Out of full confidence in the Rock of Israel, we hereby sign with our hands to witness on this declaration in the seat of the temporary governmental committee on the homeland in the city of Tel Aviv this day, Saturday evening, the 5th of Iyar, Tashach, otherwise known as May 14th, 1948. And this right here is just the list of signatures of the people who were part of this initial committee: David Ben Gurion, Daniel Oster, Mordechai Bentov, Yitzhak Ben-Zvi, Eliyahu Berlin, Fritz Bernstein, Rabbi Wolf Gold, Meir Grabowski, Yitzhak Greenbaum, Dr. Abraham Granovsky, Eliyahu Dubkin, Meir Vilner Kobner, Zerach uh, Verhaptig, Herzl Vardi, Rachel Cohen, Rabbi uh, Kalman Kahana.
I'm sorry. I'm
What?
sorry. This the way it went from sounding very native to you, and then all of a sudden, Rachel Cohen. Just the contrast right there.
I'm trying to translate them as best I can.
No, 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 no. It just it went straight from. Sorry, it just I found it funny.
I'm sorry I made you laugh. You start me on arguably the most notable name on this list, Saadia Kobashi, which, give me a second here. Let me just check something. I want to make sure before. Yeah, for some reason I thought he was Arab, but no, he isn't. I was gonna make a point here, but whatever. Rabbi Yitzchak Meir Levin, Meir David Levinstein, Tzvi Loria, Golda Meirinson, otherwise known as Golda Meir, Nachum Nir, Tzvi Segal, Rabbi Judah Leib HaKohen Fishman, David Tzvi Pinkas, Aaron Tzizling, Moshe Kolodani, Eliezer Kaplan, Abraham Katzenelson, Felix Rosenblit, David Remez, Pearl Raptor, Mordecai Stenner.
Wait, somebody was named Raptor?
Yeah, apparently.
Cool.
Or maybe it's Raptor, I don't know. Benzion Strandberg, Bechor Shitrit, Moshe Shapira, and Moshe Shertuk, otherwise known as Moshe Sharet, the guy on the 20s, as I used to call him. Yes. And this right here is just the pictures of all the people in the committee. This right here is Moshe Sharet, which is your namesake, by the way. And this right here is Golda Meir.
Cool.
So this is the Declaration of Independence. Oh, and before long, here is a recording of Ben Gurion reading parts of the Declaration.
בארץ ישראל קם העם היהודי. בה עוצבה דמותו הרוחנית, הדתית והמדינית. בה חי חיי קוממיות ממלכתית. בה יצר נכסי תרבות לאומיים וכלל אנושיים. והוריש לעולם כולו את ספר הספרים הנצחי. לאחר שהוגלה העם מארצו בכוח הזרוע, שמר לה אמונים בכל ארצות פזוריו. לפיכך נתכנסנו, אנו חברי מועצת העם, נציגי היישוב היהודי והתנועה הציונית, ביום סיום המנדט הבריטי על ארץ ישראל, ובתוקף זכותנו הטבעית וההיסטורית, על יסוד החלטת עצרת האומות המאוחדות, אנו מכריזים בזאת על הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל, היא מדינת ישראל.
And that's all he wrote.
The man himself.
Yep. So, what has you to say about this declaration?
I mean, you were right when you did say Israel's more progressive, been progressive for a lot longer. It's literally right there in your Declaration of Independence.
To be fair, we did a lot of things first before people took credit for it.
True, fair. So yeah.
So yeah, I hope this just, and again, not to put too fine a point on this, but Israel never wanted war. It never had. Every war in the history of the state of Israel was a retaliation. We were never the aggressors. We were the defenders. Of course, in some cases, a good defense is a good offense, but that's only, that only comes from being surrounded by enemies from all sides.
Mhm.
Even today, we've got Gaza from one side, Lebanon from the other, we've got Syria from another, Yemen from another side, and even in our own territories, we still got people out for blood for us. But yeah, so this is why the state of Israel needed to be founded on those principles, among others.
Hmm.
Yeah, so at the end of this very patriotic, or should I say Zionist episode, what is your topic for next week's soda?
I'm gonna go pretty basic. How well do you know your Canadian actors?
I'm pretty sure I know a lot of actors I am not aware are Canadian. If that makes
Perfect.
sense.
Perfect. That's why I said it would be a good one for you to participate in because that's what it's going to be. Canadian actors.
I mean, off the top of my head, like Ryan Reynolds, William Shatner,
Yep.
Tim Carey, Jake Baruchel,
Yep.
Ryan Gosling, also Canadian,
Yep. Born in the same hospital as Rachel McAdams.
who is also Canadian.
Yep.
I knew that.
It's a little snippet, but yeah, that's going to be Canadian actors.
All right, cool. So
Yeah.
Canadian actors or Canadian singers as well?
Well, I could do singers, but I don't know how well you would know them. I don't even know how well I would know them.
I know Justin Bieber. That's it.
Yeah, there's a lot better than Bieber. No offense to him.
No offense to him, but like again, just like actors, I'm sure there are a lot of singers I've heard of that I'm not aware are Canadian.
Yeah, maybe, but I'd actually have to do a little bit more. I'd have to do a little bit more research on that one. Whereas the actors one, I can easily like.
You know what? You know what? Just go with what's easier for you.
Yeah, we'll just do. Yeah, we'll go with the actors. I might do musicians some other day. I mean, I could very easily do another list on that. It was just I'd have to do a little bit more work for it. So,
I mean,
Canadian actors.
whatever you like.
Yeah, Canadian actors. Yeah, no. What got me was Matthew Perry's passing. Because I always thought he was born in Canada because he's Canadian, but actually he was born in Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
But his parents are Canadian.
That part I don't know. Maybe both are one, but anyways, that's something we can cover next week.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So do your plugs first, and I'll finish up with mine.
All right, so you can find me while I'm actually looking that up because now I'm fucking curious. Over on my personal.
I got him started, didn't I?
Yep. Over my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me here up to my usual shenanigans with 50. And you can also find me over on the Soda Network whenever we record, which actually looks like we might be doing a live watch along for AEW Full Gear on Saturday. Not 100% sure yet.
And I just love that you're calling what we're doing here together shenanigans. I just love that word so much.
Oh, okay. So sorry, before you continue, his mother is Canadian, was a Canadian journalist who was press secretary for Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau.
Okay, cool.
And his dad was an American.
Glad we cleared that up.
Yeah.
You know, if this was Jewish laws, then he would be Canadian as well.
Yeah.
Because Judaism is determined by the mother, not the father.
And fun fact, he actually beat up our current Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau's son, Justin. So hey, there you go. All right.
Here's an interesting fact. Okay, so and you can find me every Thursday on this show, Final Flags, and every Monday on the greatest show in the galaxy, talking Doctor Who, and I also talk even more Doctor Who on my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way up to 2022. I just started the first season of John Pertwee, so first ever colored Doctor Who episode, and it didn't get blocked by the BBC again, so yay me! And you can also check out all the other wonderful channels on the wider Benverse at large, like Something to Talk About, the aforementioned Sodagan Wrestling, Galaxy Geeks, Multiverse of Geekdom, Movie Lovers Unite, The Midnight Cinema, A-Town Reviews, and of course, in the front row, which is not bigger than this thumbnail. One of these days, I'm gonna have Luke on my show. And I'm gonna ask him to put her on it, but it's getting ridiculous. We're almost at the end of the year now, so yep. This has been what?
So holy shit, it's almost been a year.
Yep, almost been a year.
Wow. All right.
And what a year it has been.
Oy.
A year of hell, if you
Yeah.
ask me. But yeah, that's not for me to judge. So this is everything we wanted to talk about today. And speaking of which, it's almost been a year since we lost this wonderful person. This whole show is meant for him. We made this show for him because, we still miss him. We miss him every day. And we both thank God that he's not around to see what's happening around the world today because he would freak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whether it's a declaration, a constitution, or constipation, remember to let your geek flag fly. That's all we're asking here, and also let your national flag fly because after all, this is fun with flags. So uh, you notice this?
Yep. Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman to be specific.
Oh, I did not notice that part.
It's a Gal Gadot in the style of
The old
the
gotcha.
70s.
Because I did see it up close when you're like before the show and stuff like that. I did see it, but I couldn't tell it was her.
It's like the modern Gal Gadot in an 80s style, and that's why I love this Loot Crate T-shirt.
Very cool.
Anyways, so thank you all for watching, and I'm Israel Chai.
What he said.